Okay, everyone, we're good. We're live. Hello, hello. Hola. Hola. Thank you. All right. All right, everybody, we are going to start class right now. Multiple offers. I keep hearing from you guys that one of the challenges we're having out there right now is what? What's our challenge with our buyers right now?
Lack of inventory.
Lack of inventory. Again, everybody wants to argue this fact with me, but I keep telling everyone, I'm like, get your sellers to list now. But it's not the spring market. It's not a good time. Are you kidding me? There's buyers pent up so much right now. But my seller wants to paint the fence, make it look pretty. No, get it on the market. There's people that will buy the house, right? So let's talk about multiple offers when you have a buyer. Okay, we have a multiple step, multiple offer. That sounds weird. We got a, how do I even explain that without saying multiple 3 times? We have a multiple offer process to win multiple offers. Geez, that sounds weird. Okay, first off, let's talk about this. Golden era of real estate, before technology. When I had an offer that I was writing, you know what I had to do? I had to pick the phone up and say, John Kelly, Mike Bernier on the phone.
Yeah, Mike.
You know what? I just showed XYZ Main Street, great listing. By the way, my clients want to write an offer. When can we present it? And John would say, well, let me get a hold of my seller, but how are we going to present it? Well, I would like to come over to the house, sit in the living room, and present the offer to your seller. And you know what? That wasn't weird back then. That happened all the time. And we'd go and we'd sit in a living room in a line. There'd be 10 people with an offer, waiting for their turn. You want to talk about the most inefficient use of time, by the way, especially when you lost? Oh, did that take you off? But you waited for your turn, and you'd sit down, and you'd sit with the seller and say, all right, Dakota, here's the deal. Here's the offer, and you'd go through every term, and then price last. Because you want to talk about how great the family is, and how much you love the house, and blah, blah, blah. And then you'd go, but here's the thing. You want $200,000 for the house. The buyers are offering $196,000, and here's why. And you'd have to have the skill set to actually negotiate through that in front of the person, not via internet or via text message. Then the REO days happened. The crash happened, and everything became push a button, send your offer, don't call me, don't bug me. It's all about the money. Do you know, back in the old days, you know how many offers we won on emotion? Jessica's family tells a story about how they bought their house because they had Jessica's little sister, and the seller was sitting there like, oh, I love your little baby, and I want to work with you. And they got a stupidly ridiculous deal on the house because of that. People buy houses and sell houses on emotion. And yet, we have now fallen into this conundrum of send me your offer, don't talk to me, and I'll look at it, and it's all going to be based on price. Let's reverse that. Let's talk about that. Okay? We go into a multiple offer situation or any offer situation. How many people are right now? Let's just talk about bare minimum of great service to win an offer. How many people are calling to talk on the phone to the listing agent right now? Every time.
I do, for sure.
Good. What are we accomplishing with that?
Rapport.
Rapport.
Credibility.
We want credibility. We want rapport. We want to make sure that, hey, we're the team that you want to go with. Now think about it. If I call you, John Kelly.
Mike Bernier.
Yes. Thank you. Hey, guess what, John? I got an offer for you. I know that you have highest and best tonight at 5 o'clock. That's awesome. By the way, here's the deal with my buyer. The lender's going to call you too and let you know about what it looks like on the lending side. We really want to get this done. We are going to be the team, me and the buyer, and us, that will get this to the finish line. What we're trying to establish is we are going to get to the actual closing table, and here's how we're going to do it. I do that, and Dakota sends in an offer via email, nothing in the subject line but 123 Main Street, nothing else, no other communication. Not even a text, hey, I emailed you an offer. Just send an email. Which one builds more confidence?
Yours.
Yes. However, that's the way Dakota's method over here is the way that most people in the industry do it. All right, that's item number 1. What's our next step? If that's tier 1, okay, let's just call it this way. tier 1. Roman numeral 1, I guess. Tier I. Let's restart that. How about that? There we go. Tier, I'm going to spell it out so it's not weird. Tier 1. Talk to the agent. And then have your lender follow up and talk as well if there's financing. Okay? Does that mean you present the offer to the agent and tell them all the highlights? No. What you're telling them is the motivation with the buyer, how solid of a buyer they are, why they love the house, and by the way, we're the team, me and this buyer, that's going to get it to the finish line. All right, so.
Is at that time a good time to ask too is what's important to your seller? Or,
Yes.
You know, what are they looking for a close date?
That's
How
a
can I
great
package my
point.
offer? Yeah.
That's a great point. It also allows you to engage them to see what their hot buttons are. What's the most important things to your seller? Well, obviously, I mean, you're going to hear it every time, well, obviously, they really want a good price. Well, duh, we know that. But what we want them to talk about is they really want to close on February 15th. That's important. Great, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Before I even send the offer, I'm going to talk to my buyer and see if we can restructure that to February 15th. Even though that's a minor thing, does it show that we're being pliable, that we're working with them from day one? Does that not send a good message? Right? Okay, there we go. How about our buyers? What is the love letter?
Letter of, yeah.
Right? How about this? The love letter was last year. The love letter was last year. Okay?
You mean that it's all last year?
Yeah, it was sold last year.
Oh.
And I'll tell you why, because it worked great. We had at least 25 different offers that I know of personally that got accepted because of the love letter. But that was sold last year because now what we have is cool video, the love video. Okay, so
Multiple offers, not being the highest price with a video last year.
love it. Okay, so let's reframe that again. I won multiple offers not being the highest price. I've heard of also not being the best financing because we sent a love video, not the kind we're thinking of. We sent a love video to the seller ahead of time. How awesome is that, right? Will that win every heart and mind? No, it won't. Let's talk, so that's tier 2.
And that can be something as simple as sitting down with your buyers on your cell phone. And
That's all it is.
Just doing a little interview.
It personalizes the buyer, gives them a name and a face, and that right there holds a lot of weight. Now it's not just about money. The video, love video.
Can I just burst your bubble for a second?
Yeah,
I think that videos and watching stuff is the most annoying thing ever.
I'm not going to deny that. I hate it. Facebook Live is the scourge of my entire existence.
I will never even watch a YouTube video unless it's for training.
But I'm telling you something. People are consuming it at massive scales. I hate it. Facebook Live bothers the crap out of me. I don't want to see somebody in Facebook Live at the mall shopping or whatever they're doing. Delete every time. But people love that stuff.
I don't care.
They do. So, tier
We do both?
3.
We do both?
Yeah, you could, but the video is going to have a much higher impact.
That's fine.
Tier 3. Check this out. What is right of first refusal? Who knows that technique? That's what I used to get Mike and Amanda their house. Right of first refusal.
Basically position yourself with, if you have 3 other offers, you know, you want to have last say if you can adjust your.
Yes. So John, I tell you what, we're throwing the offer in, and you know, so far I can tell John and I we're jamming really well. We got great chemistry. He's the listing agent. I'm the buyer's agent. He appreciates the fact I'm calling, talking things through. Tell you what, John, I know that we're presenting offers tonight at 5 o'clock. I need one favor from you. So please do me this favor. If I'm not winning, if I'm not going to be the one to win, would you do me the favor? Don't sign the other offer. Call me and tell me what it's going to take to win at that point. Would you do that for me so that my buyers have right of first refusal? See what that does? It flips it that instead of the seller making the choice, it gives your buyer the choice if they want to move forward. How great of a service is that to your buyer? Now we're taking usually it's the choice, what'll happen today is you're going to get a message from the seller. Sorry, I know that your buyer loved the house, but we had to go a different direction. Sorry, Mr. Buyer, we didn't get the house. Flip that, reframe it. Mr. Buyer, We're not winning right now. However, I asked for a favor, a right of first refusal. They promised me they would call me and say, this is what we need to offer in order to win. They want to work with us. But we're going to have to go up. In Mike and Amanda's case, it was $2,000.
Really?
$2,000. That's all it was.
Is that written in the contract?
What's that?
Is that written?
No, we don't write in the contract because they didn't sign the contract yet. Whatever's in the contract don't matter because it's not signed. What does matter is they want, if I'm establishing enough that they want to work with me, they want to work with me. Here's how we're going to make this happen. You give me right of first refusal. And the agent says, but I don't know if I can tell you the other offer. Sure you can. You absolutely can. Once it's been presented and the seller tells you you can. Yes, you can. So they get back to me and they say, your offer at 200, it's just not quite enough. We need you at 203. Do 203 with the same terms, you got it. Mr. Buyer, we're not getting it the way it is, but because of the favor I asked for right of first refusal. If we go up $3,000, you got the house. Now, whose choice is it? Is that better than just getting a phone call saying you lost? Right of first refusal. Tier 4. I'm writing a super good multiple offer. What are we missing for those that have done this class before? There's a big step.
Earnest money.
Not quite there yet.
Have the lender write a letter or call.
That's pretty much in tier 1.
Oh,
Think about it, guys. Escalation clause.
oh yes.
This needs to be on top of mind every single time. Escalation
Can
clause.
you send that out again so we can?
Not for
see
you,
it?
no. Of course, yeah. All right, so yeah, we'll set up the escalation clause language. And here's the thing, escalation clause. John, here's the thing. My buyer is offering you $200,000. However, I know we're in multiples. My buyer will go up to $207,000. They will go up to $207,000, but what they're going to do is they will go $1,000 higher than the highest offer, highest net offer. Not highest offer, but highest net offer, up to 207. So I'm going to write that in the contract. So in other words, I'm at 200,000. If somebody beats me, I will beat them by 1,000, up to 207,000. But I want the net offer. In other words, if they offer 206,000, but they're asking for $8,000 in closing cost, and I'm not asking for closing cost, I'm talking about net offer. And by the way, John, in order to prove the merit of this, what I need you to do is send me the highest competing offer. So if you call me and say, yep, you won based on escalation clause, we at 205, you're at 205 and you win, that's awesome. I just need the other offer to verify that. That's in the contract. Can they do that? Yeah, if the seller authorizes it and the seller has seen the offer. Where we run into an ethics problem is when we start disclosing terms of another offer to another agent before the seller has seen it and given us permission to do so. Make sense? All right.
I've had that backfire once on me
It does sometimes.
by having the listing agent say, well, we just want to take your offer at the top.
Yep, and you know what we say? No, that's not our offer. Our offer is this, and you have to present it. Period. So, no, you will get some agents that think they're going to be cocky and be like, no, if you're willing to pay 210, pay 210. No, I'm going to pay more for your seller, which is a better deal for your seller, up to. Now, if your seller wants to counter me back at 210, they're welcome to do so, but my buyer doesn't have to go forward with that thing. So the reality is it will backfire once in a blue moon. Most of the time, 9 times out of 10, the escalation clause will win. Will win the whole thing. But if you put it all together, yes.
I was just gonna say, is there a way, because this is what I've run into before, where you get, because of inventory situations, where you get such higher prices than you get in the appraisal situation?
Yes.
What I'm curious about is, as a buyer or seller, because I straight out asked it was my listing, and I asked the buyer's agent, I said, you're offering this amount of money, are they prepared to pay this, even if it doesn't come in?
And the answer is with FHA and VA, the answer is no.
Right.
You
but
can't hold them to it. Conventional?
It was
Yes.
conventional offer, so I said, you know, are they prepared?
So let me, I know where you're going with this. Let me touch on that. So here's the deal. If I'm writing that offer, if I'm a buyer's agent, am I going to put in appraisal protection on there? I'm going to say no. No, because I'm representing my buyer. If they take me at 210 and then the appraisal happens and it comes in at 200 and there's 10 grand there, do I want the ability to either walk away or renegotiate at that point? I want that ability, okay? If I'm FHA or VA, they cannot hold me to any agreement to pay for any shortage of appraisal. Can I if I choose to? Can. But they can't hold me. They cannot sign an agreement with me saying, hey, if it appraises low, you agree to pay the difference. Can't do it. So really, as a buyer's agent, I'm keeping away from that as much as possible. As a listing agent, I'm going, hold on a sec. I love your escalation clause, but you're FHA 3.5% down. I don't know if I want to take that offer because there's a good chance I don't have any comps at that. As a listing agent, you might run into that.
That's what I ran into, and I talked to my sellers, and I said, look, I said, this one's conventional, and it just so happened to end up being the highest one as well,
But there's a lot of times it's not. What we've seen, and Sean Hansen is probably a resident guru at this, he's gotten more offers accepted that are not the highest price or the best financing because he's super good relationally. But I'll tell you something, as a listing agent, and we're talking from the buyer's agent perspective today, writing to win a multiple offer. As a listing agent perspective, we got a different take on this. What's the chances I'm going to run into a problem? I got 3 offers. Yours is super cool, right of first refusal, escalation clause, but you're 3.5% down FHA, and I don't have one comp even close to this. A smart listing agent is going to call that. But here's the thing. Ask Sean Hansen or a lot of other people in here, not everybody calls it. And then I get the phone call, or Dan gets a phone call, shoot, we got an appraisal problem. It didn't appraise. How much we short? 12 grand. Great, split the difference. Figure it out. And they do. The seller still sold higher than asking price, and the buyer got it for less than what they originally offered on it. So sometimes they fall through, sometimes they fix them. But your job is, as winning the multiple offer, can you get that listing agent to sign on to that? Is the buyer comfortable taking the chance that it could blow up with appraisal? That's a conversation you have with your buyer. The only one you really care about in this situation is your buyer. It doesn't matter if the listing agent takes a chance. Is your buyer comfortable with it? Yeah.
Make sure too, when you're doing conventional financing, if it's your buyer, that you write somewhere in your purchase agreement that it must appraise for the sales price, otherwise your conventional person's kind of stuck into it.
Not really. Not always.
They're not?
Not always. Because the reason they're not, because they're still subject to getting the financing. So if there's a $20,000 gap between appraisal price and purchase price, and they don't have the 20 grand to do it, if they don't physically have the money in the bank, they get denied their loan. If they get denied their loan, they still are able to use their financing contingency to walk away.
What if they really could but don't
If
want
they
to?
could, then there could be a problem.
Right.
Now, a smart listing agent, guys, is going to ask for a denial letter from a lender. Nobody asked for this. I want an official underwriting denial letter. In that denial letter, it should state the reason why there's a denial. Insufficient cash to close. Okay, that's in that case, they don't have the 20 grand to close the gap. If the denial letter is simply they chose not to move forward, now we got a different conversation.
I just write it in all mine now just to protect my
Your buyer.
clients,
Yep.
my buyers, yeah.
But my point is you have to have that strategy session with your buyer. We're in multiple offers. We can go one of 2 ways. We can write this in, or what we can do is we can chance it. And if you got to come to the table with an extra few $1,000, are you comfortable with that? You know, and for people with a lot of cash, a lot of times they are. And people without a lot of cash, they go, well, what happens if I don't have the money? Then you use the loan denial and we back out.
Yeah, or the right to renegotiate.
Yeah. Yep. So my point is, you don't have to do a lot of that in a multiple offer to still keep your buyer safe, unless they got hordes of cash and they don't want to spend it. Get it? Okay.
Got it.
All right. Tier 1 through 4. Escalation clause. Let's recap. First and foremost, build rapport. Sell yourself and your buyer as the team that's going to get it to the finish line. Okay? Have the conversation of how can we best write an offer to suit your seller. What are they really looking for? Tier 2, right of first refusal. Wait a minute. Video. Sorry. Tier 2, video. Love video. Making sure that everybody that sees that video, every seller that sees that video is going to be completely moved to work with your buyer. Tier 3, right of first refusal. Having that right of first refusal is huge. I see that happen all the time. Tier 4, escalation clause. Here's Tier 5. Baltzer's jaw was on the ground when we first did this one. We were in the car driving. Dan's in a multiple offer. And he goes, crap, I had this offer written, we weren't in multiples, I want to get presented today at 4, now another freaking offer's coming in. I go, Dan, calm down, call the listing agent and tell them the name and the price. Well, what do you mean? Ask them what price you need to be at for them to just sign it now. Just what price is it going to take to get this done. Tell them you're not committing on behalf of the buyer, but you'll bring it back to the buyer. So now you're flipping it around. The buyer's not offering to the seller's offering to the buyer. The guy calls back and says, 10 grand over. Dan says, so, we're at 250 for asking price, you're saying at 260, your seller will take our offer and you're going to call the other person and say we're done. Yep, 260 will do it. Dan made the phone call. Within 3 minutes later, the buyer called Dan back. Let's go for it. So in between going from point A to point B in my car, Dan got that deal done. Name your price, Tier 5. Now, do you think we had to have a conversation with the buyer saying, look, if we just go through the multiple offer and raise it X amount of dollars, we may win? Yes. So you may pay more in this method, or you may pay less. But the reality is, you're going to get the house. Is that extra security to know you're going to get the house, period, worth just paying the 10 grand? To that buyer, it was. Make sense? So think about it. Right of first refusal. Don't take anything without talking to me. Escalation clause. Price protection up to a certain point. Name your price. Okay? This is all stuff to really lock in and cement that you're going to win almost every single multiple offer that you're going to be in, as long as your buyer is pliable and flexible and will compete. If your buyer says, no, I want to offer 5 grand less than asking price, this can't help you. If your buyer says, no, I want this house and let's get it, this formula will greatly help you. Any questions so far? Anybody at home? Let's see. Where'd Hunter go?
You want me to look on my thing and see if anybody's asking questions?
Yes, please.
Alright. He's got somebody in his office that Jessica brought in.
Gotcha. Okay, now we're going to move on. I mean, this is how the 5-step process, right? This is 5 steps you can do to ensure winning this offer. But let's talk about how to structure offers to be more attractive as well. Think about this. If I have a ton of contingencies, is that going to help my cause? Right? That's why John says struggling with multiple offers right there. He says yes. Okay, so we want to limit our contingencies. If highest and best is 72 hours from now, is there a chance that you can slip a home inspector in there before highest and best, inspect it, and remove your inspection contingency before you even present the offer? Will it cost your buyer a few $100 to do so? But what's the alternative? Forgo the inspection and hope and pray that you don't have a major issue after you close? I'd rather spend the $400 now to see if I'm even going to go forward with it. And I've had buyers go, I don't want to waste the money, but true, but listen, if the house is going to be a problem house, you're gonna get under contract and you're going to do the inspection and you're going to walk away anyway. The money's still gone. You're just doing it up front versus later. And what it does, it strengthens your ability to actually win the offer in the first place. So, pre-inspection, there's one way you can actually increase your chances.
I would assume that it would not make sense to have any repair requests then at that point. So basically
Correct.
You're purchasing the home as is.
Yes.
You're having your inspection.
But what you can do is say, look, here's the thing. We pre-inspected it. We found all this stuff. We're offering only $1,000 above list price, not $10,000 above list price, because we know these issues, and we're willing to take them as is. Do you think a seller goes, that might be worthwhile, because yeah, we got an offer for 205 instead of 201, but we got to deal with all this inspection crap. We'll just take yours. That can work too.
No questions.
Well, do lenders ever force you to have an inspection though?
I've seen it on certain loan programs in certain companies, yeah. And I've fought back against that with everything, because in my opinion, for them to dictate the inspection process and fix the things they want, they're outside of Fannie and Freddie regulations and guidelines anyway. I'm like, we'll just go to a different lender.
Okay, one thing I
Yep.
found out about home inspections, I always write home warranties in for my buyers when they purchase a house. And if they have something go bad, like a water heater, furnace, AC, whatever, that company, whatever one it is, will ask for the home inspection.
Yeah,
So if you write in
a warranty and there's no
and you don't
inspection,
do an
yeah,
inspection,
they're not happy with that.
it won't even if you had an uncle do it, they want an official report.
Yep. Okay, you didn't lose an eye back there, did you?
No.
Thank God. Okay. All right, so here's the other piece of this. Earnest money. What's our average earnest money on a $200,000 house?
$1,000,
$1,000, maybe two. What's our average down payment?
3.5%,
Of 200 grand, what does that equal?
6,500.
Word problem coming.
Was it good? Did you do it?
Well, you missed by $500, but
Oh.
that's okay. So we have a $7,000 down payment. We have earnest money of 2. We can create an earnest money equal to down payment situation that's going to be huge in presenting our offer. Earnest money of $7,000 equal to down payment. Is that extra money out of your buyer's pocket? No. It's extra deposit. How many people really lose earnest money these days? When's the last time you actually lost earnest money in a transaction?
Not often.
Unless your buyer does something really, really dumb, they're not going to lose earnest money, right?
I feel like that would prevent them from spending it too.
Absolutely.
Ah.
Yes, absolutely will.
Can't buy a car in cash.
Love it. Okay, earnest money equal to down payment. There's another one. All right.
I found out too, you guys, that when you put in trust funds versus delivering a check is a really big factor
Big
as
time.
well. When I show buyers houses right off the get-go, I'm like, we're doing trust funds unless they can't do it there. But you can do trust funds to our broker account instead though, if they don't have trust funds like a small company.
Yes, because you can have the buyer's company hold it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
Which, by the way, guys, be careful on that. Everybody's forgetting where the earnest money is held these days, and it's causing major problems at closing tables. Where, for example, if we're the listing company and the earnest money is larger than the commission, we got to bring a check to that closing table.
yeah.
If the earnest money is not held by us, it's held by the buyer's company. There's a different process to that. But we're forgetting that earnest money is not always held by listing companies anymore. All right, here's a huge one, guys. If your down payment is 10 grand, 15 grand, whatever it is, supply a proof of funds. If you're not going to do earnest money equal to, supply a proof of funds. We've got the money. There it is. Here's the big one. Do a financial statement in conjunction with a credit report. If you hand over your buyer's credit report of 780 or whatever the heck it is, can you do that without permission? No. You have to have written, not an email, written signed permission to do that. Does that not make your buyer look like a rock star when they're doing 5 or 10% down and they got a 780 credit score with an income of 120 grand and X amount of dollars in the bank? Present that to your buyer or to your seller. Tell me that's not going to be huge for winning that offer.
Huge.
Huge. Closing time frames. Ask the seller. Right? All right. How about this? Self-imposed penalties. We will close on the 25th. If we don't close on the 25th, it'll be a $50 a day per diem that we will give to your seller. How awesome is that?
Yep. Ooh, how about this one? You could offer to give the seller $1,000 towards their moving truck.
You can do that as well.
That'd be kinda cool.
Yep.
We were talking about that yesterday.
Yep. You can do that too. So you're actually offering incentive. I will pay $1,000 to remove Mr. and Mrs. Seller. How about this? I will have your lender do a complete financial overview. So we'll get pre-approved with your lender to make sure that we're getting the green light from the people you trust. All right.
Can you email this out to us, this list?
Nope.
Can you send it to everybody else but not me?
Yes. Actually, I think this is in the back office. I'll check, and if it is, I'll just post it.
Okay, I'll check right now.
Letters to the seller. Here's the guidelines, 3 to 5 lines, blue ink, broad tip pen, photo of family buying, which we now are going to video. Mention how home is perfect fit for them and why. Notice something unique seller did to make it their own. And comment on that. Here's the other thing. Are you guys putting offer summary cover letters together? Who's not? Guys, do that. Agents love when you have a highlight sheet. Price, terms, everything laid out, boom, 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 on the cover sheet, where they don't have to dig through the offer to find it. A, it's professional. B, it's easy for them, and it shows that you got your stuff together. And put a nice cover page with your logo on it, or your team logo, or whatever it is. Make it an official looking cover letter. All right, any other discussion on multiple offers? Does anybody feel more prepared to win one right now?
Yes.
Okay.
I think this year's gonna be even more important to do all this than last year. It seems like there's less inventory.
I know, it does.
And your stats, if you found that out, with us winning multiple offers last year was super high.
It was.
And I never lost one at all, and I
Yep.
was in them all the time, so I did exactly this.
So that's awesome, man. That's awesome feedback. What concerns me, how many people at home watching, can you see?
Like 8.
Okay, so we've got a total of 21 people out of 200 and almost 20 that are paying attention to this class right now. The biggest challenge we're hearing in the marketplace right now is low inventory and winning multiple offers, and we have about 10% of our crew watching. That's a concern for me. Sometimes I wonder if people actually want to succeed in this business. But the reality is this is tough stuff. If you want to, if you want to drive buyers around to 14 different attempts to win a house, and you finally find one on the outskirts of town that nobody else wants, and then you write an offer and they get it, and you think, hey, that was awesome, I made $3.22 an hour working with this buyer. Great. But if you want this to be a system to get referrals, if you're winning multiple offers and you are spending a third of the time in the car with buyers that most agents are, do you think you're not going to get referrals from that?
Yep.
If you have a system and a process and it's proven and buyers are going, I don't know what you're talking about. I offered on one house, I got it, it was my dream house. Tiffany rocks. That's what we want.
And no agents that you send that escalation clause, maybe like 0.0% even know what it is.
Right.
And then when you write the escalation clause, I was so nervous. I had to call Mike and I was just like almost crying because it was so stressful.
And yes, and the thing is, your first couple times will feel that way, but we've had agents use this as a recruiting tool. That they actually got, the $4.95 when agents join, because they're like, hey, I know Mrs. Listing Agent, you're not familiar with this, you should come with a realty group. We do this all the time, and we're winning multiple offers like crazy. We've actually had agents bring others in because of that.
I have a friend who's been in real estate for 28 years and he's an owner of Keller Williams. And when we were talking one night at happy hour about escalation clause, he didn't even know what that was.
Right.
And we were kind of.
Yeah, and that's my point. Guys, we're trying to give you the equipment to go out there and make your business more efficient, more profitable, and less time butting your head against the wall, okay? So the fact that only 10% of the people are paying attention to this class, that's not good. But I commend you guys for being here, because this is exactly the big challenge that everybody's describing right now.
Thanks for teaching it.
Thanks for coming. All right, guys, that's all I had for you.
That's it.
That's it.
Great class, Mike. Yay. And you know you're gonna call tomorrow from somebody who wasn't here that need to do that.
100% true, probably by the afternoon.
Do you wanna, sit with you on do that pre-list packet thing for my listing? What time? Oh, you can go now. We can work on that when we do another one. Oh, hi, nice to meet you. Hi, Sue, nice to meet you. During Bruce's team. Do you have any questions? We all have something to add. Yeah. Oh, you are? Great. My son was at XVU too. Yep. No, so there's more, a little more explained to them as far as work.
I would definitely, when is it?
I'm going upstairs, right over to my car and grab some. Grab
Or
some
this is what I would do,
vegetables.
Hunter, his wife Beth does all their stuff, design and stuff. I would probably have her design you some really great color lunch presentation that's super fancy.
Yeah, you're gonna give me the other right
Yep. So I'm going to one right now, so look at one, and it's, you know, it's a seller for about 450, and then they're,
You wanna do some onboarding, I just gotta.
yeah, it is a lot, it's, you know, it's different than what I would normally do. So she's making me a custom listing presentation. She charges per hour, and I don't really know. I mean, she's cheap, she's super cheap. Figure that out, that'll be the best investment we make, cause then she'll send it to you and it's not that we modify it. And so I would definitely call or reach out to them and say, hey, I got this listing presentation, it's in your book, and you can use it, she's got our name, everything, you know, it's basically the only part I look at, except for the inside of the door, but it looks professional, unless they're an engineer.
And like that was great, and so.
Yeah.